My name is Bonnie. Today I would like to take you through a series of movements that will help to release tension around your hamstrings and your quadriceps. These are areas that become quite tight if we spend a lot of time sitting. And this is just an opportunity to go through a series of about 6 different postures that would help to release any tension in those areas. A couple of things you will need is something to put around the sole of your foot when you're lying on the ground with your foot up in the air. You could use a belt, and that's what I will use. If you have a yoga belt, that's great. Or you could use a towel. You just need to make sure that whatever you use is long enough so that when you're holding on to it, you're not reaching up with your shoulders because the item that you're using is too short. And the other thing that you will need is a blanket to cushion your knee, and also when we come into a twist you may use that blanket folded or a block or something higher to put your knee on as it comes across the body. So we'll start lying down on your back and take a moment, come into a long lying down posture with your back of the neck long and your body in a symmetrical posture here, legs outstretched. Close your eyes, take a couple of breaths. Letting your body become totally relaxed, shoulders resting down on the mat. And for the first posture, we will need the belt. So start with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. And take this belt and take it around the sole of your right foot. So bending your knee into your body and taking that foot up toward the ceiling. And then let your shoulders rest down on the floor. Let the back of your neck be long. You could have this around the ball of the foot, and make sure that your shoulders can stay settled down on the neck of the back of the neck long. And we're just going to work with the breath. You may feel that there's some stretching happening in the hamstrings here already. So that foot is going to stay above the pelvis or a little bit away, not coming towards the face. And let those bones settle down into the hip sockets. If you feel that it's comfortable, you could let that left leg come out stretched. And then on the inhale, if you let the leg become a little bit straighter, not pushing it too far, just so that you feel maybe a little bit more of an intense stretch at the hamstring. And on the exhale, let the knee bend and just a little bit so that that stretch is being released. And then doing that 2 more times, inhaling, bringing the leg a little bit straighter, however that is for you and your body today. Exhaling and releasing that stretch. And then we'll bend that left knee with the foot on the ground, release the belt. So now your right foot is going to be on the ground, and bring the left knee in and take that belt around the ball of the foot of the left side, bringing that foot up towards the ceiling. Letting your shoulders be settled down toward the floor, letting those bone muscles settle down into the hip socket, getting ready for the stretch. And then as you inhale, letting that leg come a tiny bit straighter. You might feel that stretch all the way along the calf muscle as well. Exhale and release with a slight bend in the knee. 2 more times, inhaling to come into the stretch. Exhaling to release. as you work with these stretches, you may notice that there's a difference one side to the other. So take the belt away now and let your feet come down. Put the belt just to the side, but so that it's close by so that you can reach it again. This time we're going to bend the knee in towards the chest and hold on either behind the thigh or at the shin, never around the knee joint itself. And we're going to take about 3 or 4 breaths here, and on the exhale, draw that knee in towards your abdomen. As you inhale, let it release a little bit. As you exhale, draw it in. And this also is giving you a stretch along the hamstring, the back of the thigh. If you feel that you can let that left leg come out straight with the heel beaming away and the toes up to the ceiling, you could do that. 2 more breaths on this side. And once you have finished, place that foot on the ground, bend your left knee, and take that left knee into the chest, holding on wherever it's comfortable for you, and taking 3 or 4 breaths here, drawing the knee in towards the abdomen on the exhale when the abdomen becomes a little bit flatter and the low back is flat on the ground. Engaging at your feet here, maybe letting that right leg come out long. 2 more breaths. Let this be your last breath here. And then release and bend the other leg up, so now both of your feet are on the ground. Notice that your hips are nice and level here. So this next stretch that we are going to do involves taking the knee out to the side and the ankle coming onto the thigh and possibly lifting that other foot up. So to start with, just let your right knee relax out to the side and lift that foot up and place the foot, the ankle of that right foot, across your left thigh. So make sure that your ankle is not torqued, so the ankle is nicely boxed on all sides, maybe having it a little bit engaged with your toes curled over a little bit. And then see how that feels. This may be as much as you want to do. It can be quite intense around the hip and the knee here, so not putting the knee in any jeopardy in any way. If you feel that you have the space, you could take the belt and wrap it around the thigh, the middle aspect of that left thigh, and that will enable you to take that left foot up off the ground, keeping your left foot engaged and the toes beaming, curled over with the heel beaming away. And so you're just lifting that left thigh up towards you, possibly a little bit of pressure with that right knee pressing away from your body. And you may feel that this is working all the way up that IT band. So just making sure that you're working to a position that's comfortable for you. Hopefully your upper arms can be on the floor, so your shoulders are relaxed down onto the floor as well. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then letting that foot come down onto the mat. Take that ankle away and have the belt beside you. Let your legs stretch out here for a breath, maybe giving your feet a bit of a wiggle side to side to release any tension around the hips. And then bending your knees again. This time letting your left knee just come out to the side so you have that external rotation before you lift your left foot and place it on your right thigh, making sure that the soles of your feet are engaged here. And then wrapping the belt around the thigh. If you're going to do this part, you don't have to. Making sure your shoulders are on the ground as you just pull on that belt a little bit to lift the thigh off the floor. Engaged at both feet. And then taking a couple of breaths here, maybe letting that left knee come away from the body a little bit more as you inhale and bring that thigh a little bit closer to you. Exhale and let it release away a little bit. So very subtle, small movements. One more breath here. And then release that foot down. Take the belt away. Let your left foot come onto the ground. Stretch out and wiggle your hips and your feet back and forth 2 or 3 times. The next one we're going to do is going to be on the abdomen. So just let yourself roll over and come onto your tummy. And we're going to use this belt again, wrapped around the ankles. So I'm going to start on the left side so that you can see me a little bit better, and maneuver that belt so that it's around your left ankle. It's a little bit awkward to get it there. And then come back onto your abdomen, and we're going to take that ankle in towards the buttock. So the other leg is stretched out long along the mat. And as you inhale, just gently pull that ankle toward your buttock. And you're going to feel now that you're getting a really good stretch along the quadricep, that big muscle at the front of the thigh. And then as you exhale, let that release, and coming to 3 breaths in your own time. On the inhale, drawing the ankle in towards the buttock, exhaling to release. Just be aware that this is a gentle stretch. You don't want to make it too intense. And then when you're finished, let that leg come out long along the mat and maneuver the belt around the ankle of your other foot. And then when you're ready, let the, here I've got my left leg stretched out long, top of the foot pressed into the floor, and the belt is around my right ankle. And so again, you're going to have your back of the neck long, so your forehead is resting on the ground. And as you inhale, drawing that ankle in towards the buttock, exhaling to let it release. 3 more breaths like that. Noticing how one leg feels different from the other. It's always a bit different, left to right, right to left. Let this be your last breath here. And then release and take that belt away. Just relax on your abdomen for a breath. bring your hands underneath your shoulders, and as you press into your hands, lift yourself up to come into tabletop. And this time we're going to do a little bit of a stretch that's more along the hip. This is where you may need your blanket underneath your knee to protect the knee. So take your right foot between your hands. And now this foot is nice and straight below the calf. So you have a right angle from the foot to the calf and from the calf to the thigh. And the knee is over the ankle. And so for this back foot, you could have the blanket underneath your knee if you have tender knees. And pressing into either the top of the foot or having the toes curled under, whichever is most comfortable for you, so that you can come up to a nice, tall, upright position. You may need to move that foot forward a little bit to adjust it. And here we're going to do a very subtle movement with bringing the body forward on the inhale, so you're feeling a stretch along the front of your left hip. And then exhale and come up to a straight back. And 2 more breaths like this. And when you finish, bring your hands onto the mat and take that knee back, that foot back, move your blanket over onto your other side and put that knee on the blanket and bring your left foot forward. And we'll do the same on this side. So however it is that you are using that foot, either the toes curled under or pressing into the front of the foot. And then as you inhale, leaning forward. So as you lean forward, that knee is going to come a little bit over your foot toward your toes. Exhaling to come back to an upright position, feeling the engagement of the belly, of the core muscles here. Two more breaths. And then bring your hands back onto the floor and bring that foot back. And here we're going to come onto our backs and come into a lying down twist. So it's a good idea to have a blanket or a block beside you. I'm going to come over onto the right just to rest your leg on so that you can keep your shoulders nice and level on the floor. So coming into a lying down position to start with your knees bent. And bringing your knees into your chest and then letting them drop over to the right. So I have a blanket and a block here. That might be a little bit too much height. I'll take the block away, but whatever it is that you need, you want to be able to keep your shoulders fairly level on the floor. And maybe this arm here could be stretched away from the body with the palm facing up. Keep your knees together and your feet together. And this other hand could be resting on your top knee here. And then see if you can relax the rest of your body. Make sure that the back of your neck is long. And if you feel it's comfortable for you, you could bring your head just over to look over that left shoulder. This is a nice restorative pose, so you could also close your eyes and take a few breaths here. We're not going to stay too long because of lack of time, but if you're at home, you could stay in this posture for a much longer time. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then when you're coming out of this posture, be sure to engage at your core so you don't cause any discomfort in your low back. One nice way to do it is engage at the belly and lift the top leg up and let yourself roll back onto your back and then bring the other leg with you. If you have a height that you're using, move it over onto the other side and then drawing your knees into your chest, let them drop over onto the other side, getting yourself into the same position that you were before. Knees are resting together, feet are together. Shoulders are on the mat and possibly looking over that right shoulder. Taking a few breaths here. Two more breaths in this side. And now to come out again, lifting that top leg engaged at the belly, letting yourself roll back. And if you have the time, this would be a good opportunity for you to stretch out and come into a 10 or 15 minute period of Shavasana, which would be a nice thing to do when you've been stretching. So I hope you've enjoyed this short session. Thank you and namaste.